This video is about turning awkward, messy situations into goal-scoring air dribbles. We'll break down how to start a powerful air dribble when the ball is coming at you awkwardly, falling off the wall, or taking a weird bounce. If you've ever struggled in these moments, this tutorial will give you the control that you're looking for. For those who are new, my name is Sean. I'm a former pro with over 10,000 hours in Rocket League. Okay, on to realistic air dribbles. So the difference between this pack and a lot of other packs you've probably done is that these setups are much more difficult and game-like. That's why it's called realistic air dribbles. It's something you'll realistically get in a lot of your games. So what we want to be focusing on with realistic air dribbles is, again, practicing with intention, making sure we're really thinking about our approach and our setup that will generate success in game. So on a ball like this to start, that's coming at us quite fast, we need to amend a little bit what we usually do, so it looks something like this, where we have to accept that we're not going to get perfect control on a ball that's coming at us that fast. But if we can get a ball like this to move with some pace, but we can also follow it quickly, we've done the right stuff. Should look like what I've done the last 3 attempts, actually. It's surprisingly good. So what I'm doing to do that is, as I approach it, of course, I'm trying to get aimed at the net before I jump. I'm consistently hitting it towards the net, because if you come up from the side like this, you're gonna have a tough time getting something meaningful towards the net or making the defense awkward, right? But what I'm also doing is I'm not rushing into it and full boosting and like hitting it as hard as I can. I'm gonna let the ball mostly hit me. I don't want to, as you can see, the slower that I hit into it, the closer it stays to me. So I don't want to be rushing into this. Secondly, I'm using my double jump to mitigate recoil. I'm not letting the ball hit me. I'm using that double jump to power through the ball, and that allows me to follow it up quickly. And then another thing is the way I'm spinning right after I contact it. I'm actually doing a slight inverse tornado spin, as you can see on my controller. The reason that I am doing that is because you'll notice that that keeps my nose pointed and pirouetting forward after the contact. If I tornado spin like I do with a lot of other stuff, you see my nose points away from the ball right away. I don't want to be going this way. The ball's traveling that far forward that fast. So instead of just regularly spinning or tornado spinning, I'm gonna do a slight inverse tornado spin, and that's gonna bring me towards the ball. And for reference, an inverse tornado spin is to the left on arrow left and to the right on arrow right. And that will get you that inverse tornado spin look that looks like that. Wow, that was a bad setup. Where your car goes forward with the ball, and that will create an easier time getting back to the ball, and actually really, really practically useful when you don't know how to kind of mitigate recoil in that way. Shot 2 here is kind of a tough-ish wall setup where it doesn't stay quite on the wall. Very common in game to actually have this happen over and over and over again when you try to air dribble, so you need to know how to work around it. So the biggest thing that I can say in terms of this is you need to be moving with a little bit of pace. You can't hit this ball too softly, because if you come up here and really slow down and then try to hit this, it's going to be really tough without a perfect touch, and that was kind of close to one, but it's going to be really tough to move the ball in any meaningful way if you come at it like this really slow. Again, that was actually lofted the way you need it to be, but you can even see, even with a touch that works like that, it's quite challenging. So I'm going to move into it with a little bit of pace, just like this, and you'll notice that I don't jump as I hit it, but I actually jump slightly before, because the ball's separated from the wall, right? So if I want to hit it out, I need to make sure that I jump a little bit earlier, because if I don't jump early enough, I'm just going to go out to the side like that, and then it's useless. So I'm making sure that I jump probably like, I'd say, yeah, about there, a car's length behind the ball-ish. I'll let it play so we can get a better visual of it. About a car's length behind the ball as I jump right here. Maybe like 3/4 of a car's length. It wasn't that far away. And that will allow me to match the distance from the wall that the ball is, so that I can still hit from underneath it towards the net. Yeah, about 3/4 of a car's length or so. And that creates that nice soft setup that we're trying to get, of course, lofted forward, going towards the net. That one I was a bit on top of. And that will allow us, just like that, to make it a very simple trip to the net instead of being a struggle. Off the ground here, not that useful in terms of air dribbling. It's useful for fast plays though. Like oftentimes what I would do on a ball like this is I'd pop it and then air dribble bump. That'd be a very common play to make on this. It would be a pop into a reset if I needed to do that. It would be a pop and then a quick like bring it high if someone's jumping at me, try to get it over them at least. Those would be the kind of plays. Don't try to really slow down here and make some sort of like air dribble like this. This is very easily defended, and it might be fun and look cool in a training back. It won't work that much in game. So you're gonna want to keep this play high paced, forward and high fast, and then you can practice those variations that I just showed there. The way to do that is to stay behind it, let it bounce, and then pick up speed behind it, and then pop it high, using that double jump as already stated to mitigate recoil. Shot 4 here is quite difficult, but actually a very common bounce you'll get in game. And the focus of this is to make sure you get underneath it instead of hitting behind it. Because the problem with hitting behind it is that it's uncontrollable. So look like this, and now you've just given the ball away. So what I'm making sure I do as I drive underneath this is I'm making sure that when I'm going to double jump, so when I hit my double jump, that I am actually adequately underneath it. So I'm actually watching the ball indicator and the relation of my car to the ball indicator as I approach this. That's the main way I'm able to tell. Or the bottom of the ball. You can look at the bottom of the ball too. And that will help you get a gauge. So I'm boosting up behind it. You see I'm not staying at an angle like this and then trying to do something crazy to try to get around it. I'm getting behind it and then trying to pop it towards the net, or somewhat towards the net at least. And that will give me a better chance. So here, around, double jump. So the double jump again is just a simple pull back. All I'm doing is I'm just pulling it back on the stick like a normal aerial, but I'm just timing that second jump with a touch of the ball and then spinning back to it. Now in terms of spinning back to it, again, if I hit it perfectly and the ball's in front of me, I don't need to do much. I might do a slight inverse tornado spin, or no kind of spin at all and just holding the directional arrow. I might do that too. But if I find myself ahead of the ball like this, I will tornado spin to try to get back behind it and then even out again. So again, tornado spin's a nice approach tool on the ball when you need to change your direction, slow down a little bit, or get your nose in the proper spot. But you don't want to be doing it as you're hitting the ball, or when the ball is already where you want to be, where you want it to be. In that case, you want to do much more simple spinning. Shot 5 here is just a simple chip, but it can be quite tough to actually get it on net in a meaningful way. So what I'm doing to aim it is you see I'm kind of aiming my right corner, so the corner that's closest to the ball. I am aiming it towards the net so that when they intersect, it makes a line towards the net, and that helps me aim it. Otherwise, if you try to drive up to this and just kind of hit it with the front of your nose, you're going to have some trouble sometimes. That one went towards that, but a lot of times it'll look like that, where you'll hit it slightly off and then try to have to get around it. That proves to be very difficult. So use your corner to make a line and aim towards the net. And then in terms of hitting it, you'll notice again, I'm using a very common theme in all these. I'm using my second jump to propel through that touch if possible. If I can't reach it, it'll be as close as possible, the first touch in the jump. So that's what I'm focusing on doing on approach. And then once I jump, then I'll do a bit of spinning depending on how I popped it. So the kind of your sequence is chip, normal aerial double jump pop, and then a spin based on where the ball is relative to you. It's kind of the order of operations there. You don't want to try to muddy them all and try to spin really fast right as you get up there and try to touch it like this. You can make it work. There's no point in overcomplicating it when you don't need to. So I'd kind of segment them and drill it like that until you're really comfortable with each step. Here, we want to focus on catching the ball softly. So I'm really going to be focusing on hitting it with my wheels is the big key. I'll let this one play. I jump up and then I aim my wheels at it. I kind of let the ball hit me. I don't power through the ball. You'll see that I really feather my boost and slow way down. That will help me get a light touch. And you also notice I'm not aerialing fast at it. I'm not going up at it fast like this and then trying to slow it down at the end. What I'm doing is I'm jumping high. I'm doing just basically one tornado spin, letting it hit my wheels and then following. You might want some slight momentum so you don't get too slowed down by the ball. You don't want to get recoiled off it, obviously. So what I might do is spin just as I hit it. That was not a good one. What I might do is spin just as I hit it to make sure that I don't get recoiled off, and that way I'm able to follow it if needed. But a lot of times when you hit it with your wheels in the right way, you won't recoil that bad. You notice each time I get leaned back a little bit too as I touch it. If you're leaned forward as you touch it, you're gonna hit it forward. So make sure you're kind of leaned slightly back like I am, and that will create that really nice soft touch that you're looking for. You could also try to catch this with grabbing a reset and then flipping quick, only if you have a lot of space, and I think that's kind of outside the scope of what we're doing. You could ignore shot 7 pretty much. I mean, shot 7, I believe what this is intended to be is like a pop off, like you jump, hit it off the wall, and then you kind of double it. I don't think it really counts as an air dribble though. Maybe I'm missing the point of this, but I don't think this is what you need to spend your time on. Shot 8 is much more of a normal setup. There's not much to say that hasn't already been said. Again, I'm just focusing on making sure I hit it high and forward enough to give it some pace and that I'm creating proper separation and matching the pace of the ball. Should look exactly like that pop right there. I'll bring this one to net and let it play. Because we're far away from the net, I'm going to be pretty far behind it and underneath it, and that's going to get that high and hard hit that lofts upward, and that's going to help me be able to bring it to net easily. Other thing is just, making sure I brake when I get here to the wall so I'm not too fast, because if I rush at this too fast and never slow down, it's going to look like that. Not going to be good, really easy to save for your opponents. So, shot 9 is another chip. All I'm doing again is the same thing as the last one, where I'm making sure that because this ball is moving at me at a kind of an angle, I'm trying to aim it towards the net, and then I'm giving it a little push. I'm accelerating and boosting just a tiny bit as I hit it to give it a little bit of forward momentum. I did not jump underneath it properly there, but it should look like that from underneath, where we're able to get that forward pop and then easily spin back up to it. This really shouldn't require too much like difficult spinning. It should just be a rotation or two, and then you're able to do what you need to do. Shot 10, we're a little bit close to the net. And we're also, this ball kind of pops off the wall a little bit funny, doesn't quite stick. What I really like to do when the ball doesn't stick like this is actually go to the roof like this and do a ceiling shot. All I'm doing to do that is after the ball rolls off the wall, I am hitting my jump in a little bit harder than normal. Again, when we want a ceiling shot, I'm going to hit my jump in a little bit harder, so that I get to the ceiling a bit quicker. And that allows me to get back down to the ball quicker, so it's not falling away from me for too long. That's what I'm focused on doing, especially on something like this, extremely useful. But if we do want to air dribble this one, what I am focused on, again, is slowing down enough, and then I'm jumping from a little bit farther away than normal, because I need to make sure I match the distance from the ball, matching the distance the ball is from the wall with my car. Because if I jump too late, it goes too much out. So I'm focusing on jumping a little bit earlier, and that gives me that proper separation from the wall I need. Shot 11 is quite difficult, but it is good to be able to do in game for high level players. What it is here is the ball just is popping up in kind of an awkward spot next to you. What you need to be able to do with this is actually catch it mid-spin. It's kind of the key. Because if you jump up and just kind of try to fly to it like this, it's going to be really hard to get a first touch that actually, 1, brings it with you, but 2, with control. So what I'm always doing on this to try to get a good first touch, like that, I'll let this one play, is I'm tornado spinning for my first spin to kind of bring my hood down a little bit so that it touches softly on the top of our car. You can see it gets me like halfway through the tornado spin, and that also brings the ball upwards with me and allows me to continue with it until I'm in a proper spot. And again, you'll notice I'm not tornado spinning through the whole thing. It doesn't look like this. It's just on that approach and this touch here. Oh, that was bad. It's just so that on this approach and the touch here, then once I have that, I'm now not overcomplicating my spinning. I'm keeping it rather simple and making sure I'm just getting back to the ball the way I've set myself up for. You could even look at something, the finish wasn't great, but it could look something as simple as that, where it's very small, simple spins that you don't have to do too much. That's how to do this one. It's more of a challenge in terms of timing your spin and your boosting. Obviously, the amount of boost you need to do on this is a bit more because you need to pick up the ball's pace by quite a bit. So it's really a boost timing thing as well as using enough. So definitely probably the most challenging one in here, but very useful for high level players to be able to do. And then shot 12 here is again one that's really close to the net. What I'm focusing on with these is I'm usually in game, you can't really score this. Obviously in ones, you have opportunities where, you can bring it up the wall this way against a singular defender. But in 2s and 3s, like this isn't usually a scoring opportunity. So what I'm going to be focusing on doing for the more advanced players, these are times you really want to try to grab a quick reset and then pass and bump, if possible, or fake an air dribble and then pass. For something more standard against players who aren't going to be able to defend the backboard as well, What I will do is just pop it out and then try to bring it high, right? Because someone who's not playing the backboard or will struggle to is going to struggle with that. Or, you know, you pop it and then you try to bump. These things can be useful to do, as well as, of course, if you can fit a quick ceiling shot in here or a ceiling shot pass down, that will also help you a lot in these kind of situations. I just wouldn't try to practice these like you're going to score them every time, because it's not very likely in game. So for more advanced players, again, I'm grabbing more resets here, turning them into passes. For players who play against other players who kind of struggle with the backboard a little bit, you can probably opt into bringing these more towards net a bit, like we've talked about, but somewhere close ones, or turn them into like air bumps or passes if possible.